Hey guys, Mr. E here, and we have another tier list to do. I don't know how I missed on this idea. I could have sworn that at some point in the past on my channel I have done this video already, but I couldn't find it, and I don't remember what I said at the time, so either way, we're doing it again, or we're doing it for the first time, or whatever it is. We're just going to rank all the enemies and figure out how challenging or how threatening I feel they are. And we're going to start by giving the categories for the rankings here. The first category, and all the way at the bottom, is I Pity You. These are the enemies that are so pitiful, right? They just do no damage, or they have no ways of getting that damage done, and they have low health, or they just get bullied around no matter what they do. Those are only a few enemies, but you'll agree when we get to them. Chaff is the next step up from that. These enemies get in your way. They are generally just kind of a little bit like of a nuisance, but they can actually deal some damage to you, and if you aren't managing them well, they'll overwhelm you and or like, you know, sort of get you into a bad situation. One step up from that is normal duders. These are like the core of the army, right? These are the ones who are going to have a little bit of special abilities. You might need to know like one or two techniques to play around their stuff, but they're not overly threatening. That being said, the next category up is annoying. These are the enemies that start to get really threatening. Whereas before it was like, okay, how long is it going to take to kill these? These are like, okay, how can I kill these? Because they are kind of, you know, just really annoying to get their position on, or deal with them health-wise, or whatever it might be. And then the final category, would you fucking stop? Which is what I find myself saying when these enemies do the thing that they do, and they are just so goddamn obnoxious, and they just make your life a living hell. These are the worst category of enemies. They're the ones that define, you know, most losses in Darktide generally, and some of them can instantly lose you the game, so that's really great. With that being said, we have all of our enemies down here, and via the magic of editing. Whoa, how did that get there? I guess what it's saying is if you're a normal duder like me, you should subscribe to Mr. E. And yeah, that definitely makes sense with this tier list ranking. All right, let's get started. We do have the captain here first and foremost. We're gonna say that this captain is the captain with the mace, because this is actually the scab captain, or the dread captain, and the scab captain is somewhere down here. I don't remember. There he is, I think. And we're just going to say that this guy is the one with the mace, and the other guy is the one with the sword, to differentiate those two, even though dragon and scab captains can spawn with either. But as far as the mace captain, I am just going to put him into the normal duders tier. So this captain is actually really not all that threatening. Even his big slamma-jamma move where he like whirls the mace around him in a circle, it's honestly not all that threatening. This guy gets the shit staggered out of him constantly because he doesn't have enough speed and aggression in his attacks to get anything done between the times where his shield is getting broken. Now, if he does go into red mode, you'll have to like you're playing in Havoc, for instance, which is where you see most of these guys. You will have to avoid his overheads, but his overheads are like super telegraphed. Like, I don't think that many people are catching these unawares, and even then, like, yeah, it's not exactly game ending. So I'll put him in normal dudes. I don't think I'm really that annoyed by these captains. It's just like they have a health pool and you gotta work them down. That's about it. Speaking of being annoyed, we've got the Burgle, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the Burgle into the annoying tier. These guys, they either have like one of two modes, right? They either find you in a position where you cannot get around them, and they're just gonna sit there and make everything on the floor just a fucking mess, and you're gonna get slowed like 8 times because their spit actually stacks on you, and so you'll have like reduced movement speed and action speed, and it sucks ass. So that can be really fucking annoying. Of course, they are going to like follow you around and try to eat you if you get puked on, and it never seems like when you're the person who has the shit that can blow them up that they'll actually look away from you. And of course, they've got that stupid tail slap and the body slam that can knock you like 50 yards away, even if you're like outside of 15 feet from them, it seems like it still hits you. So they're quite annoying like that. I don't want to put them in that absolute highest tier though, because they are kind of easily foiled by just like, you know, having another teammate there who can hit them in the weak spot a couple of times, especially you get the bolter or whatever. So they're not the worst thing in the world. Generally, they are not like the game ender when you're talking about like a run or whatever. They just show up and they just make the area that you're fighting in like even worse. So yeah, they're definitely like my least favorite of the monstrous bosses. They're definitely the most annoying of those. I guess spoilers for the other picks, but I don't think they're as bad as some other stuff in the game. Bulwarks also go into this tier, by the way. Bulwarks are just straight up annoying. I can think of no better definition for bulwarks. They are just such a waste of oxygen. The fact that they shield takes no damage, there's no way to effectively like stagger them out of it. 9 times out of 10 when I'm playing Ogryn into bulwarks, I am just light attacking, I'm just hitting them in the shield and just waiting for when they actually fucking finally decide to move their arms at all so I can hit them. And I just think that this is such a poor enemy design. I've always thought it's a poor enemy design. I don't understand why there's not some... I mean, I understand because, like, obviously they wouldn't come to war with a shitty, like, shield that doesn't defend them, but I don't understand how there's not some tactic you can use to, like, actually get around them other than just, like, straight up, like, staggering them from some ground effect or whatever. It's just, they're just so, they slow the pace of the game to a crawl, and if you ever got these guys who are purple or they're just, like, among other enemies and like, covering for them, it just sucks. It sucks playing around these things. Like 2 or 3 of them, and you just can't deal with the horde you're kiting around if you're trying to get a clutch. And of course, they got that stupid shield bash, that little pump they do with the shield that can knock you out of a res. It's garbage. I hate that. Okay, we've got the Chaos Spawn. Chaos Spawn is a normal duder to me. For whatever reason, like the Chaos Spawn's attacks, they don't seem to hit. I don't know if that's just me, but like when I'm playing and I'm fighting against a Chaos Spawn, he does this little slippy slappy attack where he like does his multi-hit and he like kind of rolls towards you where he's like hitting the ground. You know what I'm talking about. And that attack, I feel like it doesn't register hits like half of the time, or it does such low damage. I'm not registering the damage on it, and it just pushes you around a bunch. So I feel like this guy is more deadly in like pushing you out of position than anything else. The one attack that he has that is like keeping him in relevancy here is of course the grab, the grab attack. But once you learn that for whatever godforsaken reason, you should be dodging into the direction the grab is coming from rather than dodging away from where the grab is, then you'll never get grabbed again. Because if you just dodge to the right, because their tentacle arm is on the left, you'll dodge it pretty much every single time, including on Ogryn. And that just changes the game, right? That opens him up to way more damage being able to be dealt, because that's like one of the only times where he's just standing still and getting punished. So yeah, outside of that, I don't think he has anything that's too scary. And of course, this guy really only gets that scary when he's in conjunction with other enemies who can put like ground effect stuff down that fucks you while you're being eaten by him. But I can't consider that part of his strength. We also have Crushers in this tier. I am gonna put Crushers, I don't know. I've been killed by Crushers a lot in my career, but I don't know if they rise to even annoying tier. I honestly don't feel like I'm that annoyed by Crushers, to be quite honest. I don't feel like they're that powerful. Like if you think about it, Crushers have I think 5 attacks total, maybe 6, right? They've got an overhead, they've got a side swipe with the mace, they've got the butt of the mace, they've got a backhand, and they got a punch, and they got a kick. So they got 6 attacks, right? And none of those really like set them apart from just a basic enemy in this game. They just have a big health pool and they got an annoying armor type, and that's about it. Plus with the power creep that's been going on, you know, these guys get staggered and like 2 attacks from an RBZ or an Ogryn and their game is over. They don't really have anything threatening. About the only thing these guys will do to you is they'll drop a fucking overhead 1-ton hammer on you when you weren't paying attention and there was one behind you that didn't get staggered or killed. And that's about their only contribution currently, which is sad because they're supposed to be like the flagship, like tough enemy in the game, and I just don't think they're tough at all anymore. Let's talk about the demon host though. So I'm gonna put the demon host into the annoying tier here. The demon host, this is presuming you actually fight the demon host, right? Obviously, if you just avoid the demon host, that's a completely different scenario. But if the demon host gets summoned on you through a ritual, it's even worse. But a demon host that gets triggered, it is quite an annoying enemy. Not even talking about the attacks necessarily, but the corrupting effect that it puts on everybody is just bullshit. Like how fast that corrupts everyone's health and how much it corrupts just for dealing with this thing is just quite obnoxious. And then of course, if you're not playing on PC and you don't have the mods to like get rid of this stupid green bleary eye effect, suddenly someone smeared radioactive Vaseline all over your screen and you can't even tell what's going on. Like, it's bad enough you're dealing with the fucking demon host who for some reason is still glitched and is like clipping into the floor 95% of the time, but you also can't see where he is because your screen is all iced up around the edges and in the center it's all green and bleary. So I really hate the visual effects going on there. Thanks for those. So I just turn those off with mods, but if you don't, then it sucks to suck. But his attacks are also really annoying. So he's got this single swipe, and that one's kind of whatever. But then he's got a chain of 5 swipes, and these will eat your stamina like nothing else. About the only way to deal with these guys is to get some sort of like obstacle and just kind of do a little ring around the rosy for him, because he'll channel his 5 swipe attack and he'll like overcommit in one direction, or you could loop him like a DBD killer and just loop him all day. Or you can find a bit of vertical terrain where like a little ledge and hop up and hop down and he'll teleport instead and reset his animation every time, and that's one way you can beat him. But still, he's still going to get some damage done, and of course he's going to erode the entire team's HP pool because of that corrupting effect, and it's just that's definitionally annoying. Then I've got 2 of the same guy down here. Can I like trash one somehow? I'll move him to the end. The little dude with the club, Chaff. Definitionally a chaff enemy. These guys are not scary. They don't have a ranged weapon. They'll come up to you and they'll try to hit you, but like, you know, outside of when you're learning the game and you haven't passed heresy yet, you're not really getting hit by melee only dudes. So you just kind of like stay away from melee only dudes, and it's usually the good dudes with the guns who are way more scary. And these guys die in like 1 attack to most weapons. So yeah, they just gotta be chaff. Then we've got our gunner. This is the Dread Gunner. There's not really going to be any difference between the Dread Gunner and the Scab Gunner. I will rank the Gunner as the annoying tier. So the Gunners have gone up and down in terms of viability over time, but these guys, for whatever reason, they tend to spawn in like pods where suddenly you'll go into a room and you'll realize that the entire enemy forces have been populated by these fucking guys, or gunners in general, and they'll start laying down suppressing fire, and they never ever stop. They'll shoot all day long, and you'll be like, okay, so when do we actually go? And the worst things about these gunners are, which will extend to the other type of gunners and to reapers eventually, is that a lot of times, because they don't have a melee option, when you get kind of close to them, if they don't get suppressed by some of your actions, they'll just be like, well, I'm gonna keep shooting. And you know, that DPS output is considerable, so it can be pretty rippy. I also just think that gunners represent one of the real challenges for players as they move up the ranks, because especially on Havoc, their consistent high range DPS will break your shields and then damage your health directly in like 1 millisecond. And because they just keep firing no matter what, you can't dodge them by repeatedly bullet sliding in the same way you can with like regular shooters, because they'll just keep shooting at you through the slide and they'll get you the second you stand up for the next slide. So they always land damage on you. So I have to say that they're just annoying. Whenever a game rolls a seed with 1,000,001 gunners, it's always just a pain to endure. We've got the Rager. This is the Dreg Rager, the unarmored Rager. He's just a normal dude. He isn't really all that scary. Yes, he has good damage output, damage potential, because if he closes the gap and he starts doing the left, right, attack on you, that can shred your health in like a matter of seconds. But because he is maniac typed and because he doesn't have any armor on him, generally he's pretty weak to most stuff and it gets blown up fairly quickly. He can get staggered by a lot of stuff. These guys are not nearly as scary as their scab counterpart, because the scab counterpart gets so much more armor, and so yeah, you can't blow them up in the same way you can blow these guys up. These guys get the worst of both worlds. They have to be frontline berserkers with no armor. Hey guys, Mr. Editor jumping here in post to say that I just realized that there is no Scab Rager on this entire list. Somehow that guy missed the invite to the party. If I were to put him on this list, I would put him squarely in the annoying tier, but at the low end, he just is a little bit of a rung up from his Dreg counterpart because of that Carapace armored chest, gives him the additional survivability he needs to close the gap and be an annoying threat. There you go. We've also got the Ritualists here. These are Ritualists, they channel a little thingamabobby. When they finish channeling, they summon in a demon host. I'm just going to give these guys chaffed here. They don't do anything on their own. They only just stand there and they channel until they summon the demon host. If you have concentrated damage on them, you'll kill them. About the only time these guys are actually annoying is when they're glitched out, which I won't count towards their credit, is like, some of these rituals are just completely glitched and activate in the wrong spot. But they also have a pretty good health pool, and so if they're being healed by like purple enemies, because you really only see these guys in Havoc, so if there's purple enemies on the map and they're healing these guys, they can be quite annoying then, to get rid of them and stop the channeling. But they don't do anything on their own, so I can't put them any higher than Chaff. We've got Shotgunners. Shotgunners are definitionally normal duders. They're pretty much exactly what I was thinking of when I typed normal duders. Shotgunners have really low HP, like 1,000 HP, I believe is their HP level, and the shotgun does do some considerable damage. Like the one shotgun shot can break your toughness and then hit stagger you, and then you'll obviously take like a subsequent hit if you're not really like dodging as fast as you can to get out of that situation. But other than that, they have a propensity to either get routed from their position and sort of scatter, or they'll just overcommit to using their bayonet on their shotgun instead of just continuing to shoot. If these guys continued to shoot in the same way that gunners do, instead of swapping to their melee when you get kind of close, they would be crazy scary, I think, because their damage output is just insane. But generally, when you get close enough to them, they're like, I'm done trying to shoot my shotgun at this close range target. It's time to melee, because I'm definitely going to beat him in melee, and that doesn't generally go well when they only have 1,000 HP. So yeah, I'll just give them normal duders here. They like have some potential to do some damage, but they fall apart because they're tissue paper. We've got a Dreg shooter here. Annoying. This guy and the Scab shooter will both be an annoying tier. And let's put the Scab gunner up there as well. All of these gunners and shooters are just annoying for the same reason, right? They position themselves, like, the AI directs them to position themselves as far apart as possible, all around the room, take up position behind different boxes and stuff, take cover, and then just shoot in the same direction through the door or whatever it is. And these guys will, you'll just be like, oh, scratching your ass, and then you'll get pelted in the back of the head 9 times by the biggest burst you've ever seen from an assault rifle, and suddenly they've chunked into your HP a good bit. Yeah, they're just really, really sneaky for whatever reason. There always seems like in any level that you're clearing through, there's always one of these fucking guys who somehow was like cowering on a rooftop and you didn't see him. You went past him, he still didn't do anything, and as soon as that horde is coming in or that boss is coming in and you're like focusing on trying to kite him, you've got this motherfucker behind you who's just like going da 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 da. And that can actually kill you, because on Havoc these guys do some serious damage. So I really hate them. They're just adding more annoying stuff to the range pile of stuff that I have to dodge and be aware of. I'm very thankful the dog exists, because the dog will go and seek these guys out and kill them in a millisecond. Definitely a really great use for the dog. Oh boy, it's time for the gas bomber. He is would you fucking stop tier. Created this tier thinking about the gas bomber, right? Would you fucking stop, dude? These guys are trained at the NFL goddamn training coliseum or some shit. These guys could make Peyton Manning look like a fucking chump. They can throw this gas bomb, it gotta be at least 2 football fields with pinpoint accuracy. Wherever you are, that gas bomb will find its way into your little hidey hole and ruin it for everybody except if you're on RBDs, because, fuck everything if you're RBDs. Nothing hurts. But for everybody else, this is just interminable. The gas cloud lingers for, I don't know, seems like 30 seconds at least. And here's the worst part about these gas clouds is they spread. They're volumetric. So what it does is, like, okay, say there's like a box, like let's say that like this area where the black squares are, where the enemies are, right? Let's say the first gas bomb hits right here, and so it's gonna fill 9 squares. So it would fill these 4, and then it would fill these 5 right here. Let's say the second gas bomb also lands, like right here. It's also going to fill 9 squares, but it won't fill the same 9 squares. It'll continue to spread and then fill the same area. So it'll fill all of these over here, even though it's landed in the same location. So one gas bomber that's throwing unimpeded will repeatedly throw into the same area where you are, and it'll make the gas cloud bigger and bigger and bigger until you have no clue which way to get out of it. And these guys also have their own modifiers on certain maps that can even appear on Havoc, where they appear in like huge swarms and then just annoy the shit out of you by hurling these things into your vicinity. It's just like interminable. And they're so far away. They are never, ever near where you need them to be. And it's so hard to find them because they're green and everything's green when you're in the mist. I really just kind of wish they had like a more obvious audio tell so you could fucking find them and murder their asses. They are nightmares, and they will kill your runs. They will legitimately kill your runs by choking you out of a good position. And I guess that's what they're designed to do. We got the flamers here. I am putting flamers into chaff tier. Once upon a time, I was scared of flamers, I guess, but as long as you just know the diagonal strat with flamers, just run a little bit to the side and then walk up to them and kill them, they can't do anything to you. Yeah, they'll miss with all their attacks. The only time flamers are scary is when a mutant grabs you or a chaos spawn grabs you. That's literally the only time a mutant is, or you're trying to get a res, right? Those are the only times that they're actually scary. Is when that's happening. But most of the time they have so little health, they just fall over, and they're just too easy to evade by moving in any direction other than directly at them. The one thing that does make them like mildly annoying is that their flame knockback starts the second that they fire their like flame, so you'll be like, why the fuck am I being hit when it's not even at me yet? And it's just because it's a hit scan projectile, and then it paints the ground after the effect. But I'm just going to give them chaff because I don't find them threatening really in any way, shape, or form, especially if you're playing Ogren, because taunt just completely invalidates these guys. It makes them stand around and do nothing. We now have just poxwalkers. Just like pity tier for these guys. They just don't do anything, right? They're like, they can get in your way, I guess, but they have about 1 hit worth of HP. If you're Ogren, you bowl them over. If you're RBDs, you bowl them over. Yeah, they're just too weak. I get that the game has to have an enemy like this as an absolute like pitiful enemy that can do no damage. But yeah, they're just not. I can't rank them any higher. They don't have anything special going on. This is the Mobian 21st, though. I'll give Mobian 21st a solid chaff rating. They are, I guess they're kind of definitionally chaff, right? These guys are just intended to clog up the area. They're an armored, more healthy version of the Groaners and Poxwalkers, and they just clog the whole real estate of the level that you're fighting in, and they have enough armor that they don't die immediately to stuff like the Flame Staff, etc., etc. But yeah, you'll only see them occasionally on special missions as well. So if you don't know what this is talking about, then you haven't played Havoc with the 21st modifier on it, or you didn't play that special event a while back. But yeah, they're just chaff. We got the Mutant. Oh boy, I think the Mutant is annoying tier. I really do. I think the Mutant is one of... Oh shit, I almost fucking tripped and fell over. The Mutant almost got me. I think the Mutant is one of the most dangerous specials in the game, if I'm being quite honest. Now, he doesn't do shit for damage, but he seems like 9 times out of 10, if there's a situation that's going bad and it needs a clutch situation, there's a Mutant there to ruin that for you. He's like, I'm here, sir. I'm here just to fuck up your clutch by 1 millisecond, because he'll grab you away from something that you were about to do, or you know, he'll make you have to reposition in such a way that you have to waste some time, or just deal with him outright. And, you know, best case scenario, he runs you into a wall, and then he turns around and he throws you in some direction, and you just hope that it's not into a bunch of bullshit. But worst case scenario, he slams you on the ground a couple times because he doesn't reach a wall, and also a flamer finds you in the interim and burns you to death. Or he throws you then into like the worst possible position or away from where you were trying to be for you know, timeless manners. Yeah, he can actually just like single-handedly lose you the game. I've had it happen a number of times where I was gonna get the clutch and the mutant nailed me from the backside and then throws me directly into a bunch of enemies and out of position, and I get gunned down or whatever it is. So mutant's definitely going in that annoying tier. But we have the relative of the mutant, I guess. I mean, it's also a mutant thing, right? The Plague Ogryn. Plague Ogryn is pity tier. Plague Ogrins are so sad. I really want Plague Ogrins to get like a rework or something so they're actually scary. These guys are stupid slow. They are so predictable. Every single one of their moves is so darn predictable. You can see them coming from a mile away. They do 0 damage. And they've got this long-ass charge that everyone can see coming. In fact, the charge is even helpful to players, because if you don't block it, it'll just like throw you. So if you want to get ahead of the rest of the pack, you just run, let them bump you in the back, and you'll go flying forward. Yeah, these guys just don't have anything going on that could ever hurt players, and they don't have a special move that can like CC players like the other two monstrous enemies do. Yeah, they're just like an oversized groaner, and that's it. They don't even have like considerable knockback or anything. So yeah, I think these guys are absolutely pitiable, and I wish they were like scarier. I wish they were like actually like, oh my god, here comes a boss. Anytime I see one of these guys, I'm like, oh phew, thank god I rolled this guy as the boss. Then we got the dogs. The dogs I will rank as chaff for me. Dogs, you know, once upon a time in Hollywood, way back in my origin story days, dogs were kind of scary, right? But once you understand fundamentally what dogs are doing, like how their little AI brains think and how they need to position themselves to launch the pounce and what the timing on their pounce is, once you've got that stuff done, I mean, you've probably seen me on stream. I have dog armor, right? I can just like push randomly, and the dog that was anywhere near me won't be able to get a latch, or I'll just hit him straight out of the middle of the air, right? Once you have understood the code behind the dogs, you're like Neo in the dog matrix, the dog tricks, and yeah, and then you just kill them all on sight pretty much. They're not really that scary at all, and because they have such low stagger resistance to pretty much everything, like even if they do get a pounce on you, there's a good chance that like something else will knock them off, just a random stray shot or explosion or a boss or something. So yeah, chaff. Poxbursters, fucking stop, dude. These guys used to be in the annoying tier. They are in this top tier now. Something breaks. I swear to God, every patch these get worse. They've never been okay. They've never been okay in this game, even once. Their AI combined with, I want to say like the netcode of the game, I don't know what the fuck it is, but like it, you know they're going for you, right? They're walking directly at you. They're definitely not walking at the rest of the team. Then they get to you, and they're going to fake you out, right? So your choices are, let this thing dive on me from literally 1 inch away and hope that I can shove it and dodge back in time, or just shove it backwards now and waste some grenades or whatever to blow it up while it's on the ground. Worst case scenario is if you don't have the time or the resources to like actually kill them when they're on the ground, and they get to do another attempt at diving into your team. And it just seems like 9 times out of 10, these guys, you know, they'll come like 3 or 4 in a pack now when you're playing in Havoc. That's what they'll send them around the corner. They'll make 0 noise for whatever reason. They'll show up. There'll be 4 of them in a big long Congo line. So you'll push. You'll push the first 2, but then the back ones will actually dive forward and get exploded midair by the first 2 exploding, and they'll hit you anyway. And they do a tremendous amount of damage, a tremendous amount of corruption, and they are just a straight up game ender. Like this is an enemy that will single-handedly just chunk your entire team if they're not paying attention. And even if they are paying attention, they'll get locked into volleyball mode where they're getting bounced around by everybody on the team or the dog. God forbid someone's dog gets put on them and he's like bopping them around on the snoot, and you're just like, oh my god, will you fucking explode already? It's just so annoying, because you know if it catches you in that very outer radius of his explosion, you're gonna go flying, you're gonna lose a bunch of HP. And yeah, these guys are the worst, and they're so glitchy, you can never tell when they're supposed to do anything. And of course, there's always that 1 in 100 chance that when you push them, they fall directly into you and blow up on anyway, or the dog will be behind them, that you push them and the dog pushes them back into you and they explode in your face anyway, and then you just die. So great, pox bursters, fuck them. We've got more chaff enemies, or sorry, not chaff enemies, but rather pitiable enemies with the other form. I think these are the groaners, or maybe these are the groaners, these are the poxwalkers. I don't know. They're little enemies. They're just the normal dudes. They're not normal duders. They're just normal dudes who just die really quickly. So pitiable tier, Reaper tier. We've got the Reaper. Fuck, where do I want to put the Reaper? I feel like the Reaper is more just annoying, right? Reapers, fortunately, there's a lot of weapons that do really, really excellent damage to Reapers. Like, they just get blown up by a single Rumbler grenade. There's, you know, they have like 36 or 3200 HP, but like most weapons can kill them in like 1 or 2 shots. And they do have really, really impressive damage, but they tend to get routed pretty easily and stand around doing nothing a lot of the time. But occasionally one of these guys will sort of like break free from the conditioning and just continue to shoot you. Even if you're like kind of close, he'll just continue to shoot you. And then you start getting pushed back and they break your toughness pretty much instantly, and then they just absolutely gut your health. These guys, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, they actually do have a modifier to their health damage, so they do crazy health damage. If these guys shoot you directly on your health, you just die, is how it works. So yeah, they've caused a lot of my deaths, and they're scary. They are very scary. That high health pool sort of insulates them against some of the stuff that would kill the lesser shooters. Obviously, it doesn't do anything against Rumbler and stuff, but yeah, you can't really just like pull out your, I don't know, Shredder auto pistol and kill these guys like you can with the regular shooters. So yeah, definitely annoying tier. We've got Rinda and Rodin Karnak. Now, Rinda is the melee twin. She is fucking stopped here for sure. So Rinda, on her own, right? Like, if you can get her isolated, she's not all that bad. But the problem with her is your team is never fucking paying attention. This girl will dash up, say she's on you, right? And you're paying attention. You know what she's going to do. She's going to dash into you at like 1.8 million miles an hour, and then she's going to channel this huge slash. Well, wouldn't you know it, everybody on your team decided just to be like right up your ass in that one moment. They can't stay in fucking coherency any other time in the game, but the 1 second that Rinda is there and is about to do a huge AoE slash that kills you through your block, that's where everyone is standing. And then she'll just do that, and it'll put someone down. And now you're just in a game-ending position because you can't get them up, because Rinda staggers you on every single attack. She'll push you away from the target that you're on unless you're like against a wall or something. And that's the other really deadly thing about her, is this like constant push that she does, where she'll like shove you around the arena, and you kind of have to stay on the offensive or wait for an opening where she's staggered to get some damage done, and she'll push you into really bad stuff, including what her brother can do. But she's definitely the more dangerous of the twins. I like to eliminate her first just because she causes so much chaos. And as aforementioned, she's got that big, huge slash, but she also has the multi-slash, the quick, like, like 5 or 6 slashes. That one can put you in an early grave in like a second or two if you aren't paying attention. Yeah, it'll chip your toughness on the first one, it'll hit your health directly on the second one. So yeah, you have to pay attention to this girl, and pretty much you have to knock her toughness down really quickly, and then get her into a CC chain and just end her before she's able to do anything. She's that high of a threat. Rodin goes slightly behind her in the annoying tier. He is not so much of a direct threat. Occasionally, his laser shots will land on their target. It'll blow all your toughness off in one shot, but more of this is about his throwing these tox mines out, throwing these mines all around the environment, right? A single tox mine will corrupt like half of your health bar, and so you just lose half your health instantly, unless of course you're using rebreather. And yeah, it's just, he makes the environment so much harder to fight in, and of course he's just firing pot shots with the plasma rifle into the fray while you're fighting Rinda, and if they collide with you, you lose all of your toughness instantly, no matter how much toughness you have, which really sucks, because then of course she's going to hit you in the next millisecond. And yeah, he's just really obnoxious. If you can get them both together in the same room, they get better, because you can cleave them both down and he can't do as much of his shit. But the way it is like, if she forces you back and you're still in line of sight of him, she's got you right where she wants you, where she can hit you around, you gotta block, and he gets to shoot at you while you're blocking, so you gotta block and dodge. Eventually one of them's gonna get you. If you can force her to chase you to like some sort of room or something where he can't see, the odds go way more in your favor. But yeah, he's also still super scary. We've got the Flame Bomber. Oh man, the Flame Bomber, I think the Flame Bomber is also in this top tier here. Flame Bombers are another one of those enemies that can ruin the room that you were in. That can put something down that's is just going to do damage. Not nearly so bad as the Gas Bomber, but I think he's more than annoying, right? Because these guys can throw out way more flame grenades than the Gas Bombers can, at least by my timings. So yeah, I really think these guys are being given the undersell by many members of the community. They are just, I mean, look at look at the video that I posted yesterday where the team got killed, right? What killed them? Well, it was the twins came in, but what made it so that they were definitely 100% going to die? Well, it was the Flame Bomber. He lobbed a grenade in there and it lit the whole floor on fire, right? That is the power. And these guys will snap these grenades off really quickly. It doesn't take them very long to set up for a good shot, and they'll get them to where you are and make you have to move. And Darktide is not really a game where you want to lose your advantageous positions. That's why these two bombers are so scary. We've got a regular chaff enemy here, just another regular melee, so I'll skip on past him. And this is the captain with the sword. So this is the captain with the plasma sword. He is fucking stopped here, just like Rinda is. So these captains, they have not only this big like sideways horizontal slash that hits everything around them, but they have the flurry of blows. And the flurry of blows is by far the scariest thing that this captain does. It's why he's in fucking stopped here. He gets enough life because he has all this reset from his shields that he can actually do this attack a couple of times because it comes out pretty quickly. And what'll happen is everyone is like fighting the boss, and then some enemies spawn in, a couple of like trash enemies. The Psyker turns around to flame those enemies, and right then is when he says, I'm gonna kill that fucking Psyker. And he just turns his AI on, he walks over to them, and he does the Omni Slash. He hits like 5 or 6 times, and almost immediately, I think it takes like 2 or 3 hits to kill you from full if you get hit with this combo. And it is very fast and can happen almost instantly. Like you'll see the first swing come out and you'll be like, uh-oh. And then you'll get hit by the second one and you'll lose a bunch of health. So yeah, you got to be really careful around these guys, especially if the red buff is on the field, because then they can't be CC'd and they're attacking faster. So he'll whip that thing out and he'll cut you apart in like a millisecond. Really scary guy, especially with the red up there. We've got the other type of flamer. I'm gonna put the other type of flamer. Where did I put the last one? In chaff? Yeah, that's fair. Same thing. Maulers. Maulers are just normal duders. I don't really have any problems with maulers. Maulers and crushers, maulers especially, they don't have enough health to really keep them alive to do the thing they want to do. Again, just like crushers, about the only thing that is scary or interesting or whatever justifies these guys' reason to exist is the overheads, because the overheads will drop your ass instantly if you don't have some protection against it, especially on Havoc. So you need to be watching out for their overheads, for their ice skating and their overheads. But outside of that, what do these guys have that's like special? I don't think they legitimately have anything, and that's really sad. So you just watch out for their overheads, and that's it. Honestly, I think these guys, not only is their health pool like a lot lower, these guys are so much easier to deal with than the Crusher, because you can hear that chain axe. When they're swinging at you, it goes, rrr. If a Crusher raises an overhead at you, and he just happens to be like right over here on the side of your screen, where it's just off the screen, but it's not far enough off the screen where the game gives you the hit detection, like, he'll just blindside you with a 20-ton granite mallet and you'll die. So yeah, we've got another shotgunner, normal duder. Skipping on past that, sniper rifle, annoying. Snipers, they're kind of like, they exist in duality, right? Snipers either do fuck all and they'll get themselves into a horrible position, and then they'll just run into your team instead of like going and falling back and actually sniping. They'll just be like, I give my life up for ire, and they'll just walk into the nearest one of your allies and get murdered. But when they are in position, they just complicate a situation like nothing else. You know, they can either spawn in as a wave and just like hold down a door, and so you got to peek out and shoot them forever. But they really excel when they spawn in during a large scale combat encounter, and they get some weird off angle where, like, okay, they're holding the stairs if you back out of this room, and you would never be like, okay, how the fuck did that enemy get behind me? But yeah, you come out of the stairs and you're kiting enemies backwards, and they just shoot you square in the back because they were just holding that angle the whole damn time. Like, they're honestly pretty smart about that positioning and holding down of like the rooms that the allies are in. But yeah, that definitely makes them the annoying tier. The fact that these shots also do big knockback and crack through your toughness at the same time is just icing the cake for that. And my most favorite glitch about these guys is that you can dodge their attacks while you're sliding, but if for whatever reason you slide off of an obstacle and go into the falling state instead, their aim will immediately snap to you and shoot you. So I've had that happen a couple of times on stream where I was like slide dodging away from them, and then I fell down a cliff or a hole or whatever, and I watched as the laser that had already fallen off of me because I slide dodged, it just snapped back onto me and shot me instantly, and I died in the animation. That sucks. Regular scab shooters, also a annoying enemy. Actually, wait, hold on. This is the mixed guy, right? He goes here, normal duders. These guys, I believe, I can't tell from the image, but these guys, they have a sword and the gun, and so that means that when you get kind of close to them, they will default to pulling out the sword and coming into melee engagement instead of continuing to shoot. The reason that these other gunners up here, scab shooters and drag shooters, well, flip that, but the reason those guys are so much scarier and more annoying on the tier list is because they only know shooting. They will continue to shoot in 99% of situations, and that's what's actually scary. These guys that have like 4 HP rolling in and trying to melee you, it's not going to go very well for them at all, so I will take them any day of the week. Let's go ahead and put this, this is a duplicate, and then we got our last one, the Trapper. Obviously, the Trapper is the fucking stop tier, right? No other enemy, barring maybe the Burster, can single-handedly just absolutely, like, snowball a situation. The Trapper, depending on where they come from and how good an angle they have on their trap, can get an absolutely massive yank like the one I had last night and pull you directly into a huge conglomerate of enemies, potentially behind stuff that your team can't get to, or pull you into fire, or they pull you and then immediately enemies dogpile on you. The only saving grace for these enemies is that it seems that there is some sort of like grace period when you do get netted where the enemies won't immediately murder you. Like, they don't immediately beat you to death the second you land on the ground. They kind of like forget about your existence for about 3 to 5 seconds, which is fine. But in that time, these guys will reload, and it just seems like whenever I get trappered by an enemy, I'm like, oh my god, this Trapper is going to go 4 for 4. He's going to get everybody in the team. And usually they do. They'll come back and get at least one more person, because apparently nobody can hear them because they're only fucking like 85 decibels. Like, they're one of the loudest specials in the game, and they announce themselves very clearly, but no one can tell where they're coming from, and it kills your entire team. That's why they're so dangerous. Is like, these are the normie killer, right? These are the casual killer, and casuals don't understand, as well as the thing I get a lot of complaints about, is that when you hear that Trapper net sound firing up, you need to be getting ready to dodge. You don't just stand there and be like, well, they can't see me, I can't see them through the terrain, I'm just going to let it go. Unless you are a 1,000 plus hour veteran of the game and you understand which terrain has collision and which doesn't, just dodge anyway. Because 95% of the time, if the trapper can see you and is charging the attack to shoot you, they have decided that they can hit you. And they will hit you if you don't dodge. So yeah, just be dodging. Always be dodging. ABC, always be dodging. Alright guys, well that is the full list. This guy's a little bit of an extra down here, just like me. And hopefully you agree with that. Let me know down in the comments, is there anybody you think should have been moved up or down? Post your faves down there, guys. And let me know if you have any other ideas for tier lists that I haven't touched on just yet. But with that being said, have a good night, everyone. Mystery out. Bye.